Hey YouTube, so I want to do a video tonight about another channel on YouTube in the YouTube community that's kind of pushing the case for veganism in their own particular way. This channel is doing it in a way that is dubious at best, and I kind of want you guys to decide. But I do think that there are some reasonably objective things to say about the subject matter he focuses on also, so I'm gonna talk about that as well tonight. So just real quick before I get into the topic at hand, I do want to just show a little bit about the activity on our website, thereasonvegan.com, where we are all about providing good reasons to go vegan and stay that way. Evan, one of our contributors, just put out a post today where he talks about the connection between the Satanic Temple and veganism. He makes a very strong case for that. I also did a post recently about the new song Earth by Lil Dicky, which is kind of a cultural phenomenon, and it does this really weird thing in the way it depicts cows and pigs, and as a vegan, from a vegan perspective, it's not exactly, well, not even not exactly, it's not an actual accurate depiction of what the reality is for these animals. And interestingly, there are two vegans who kind of are involved in that song, and I make the case very lightly, but I try to make the argument that they might have some complicity in that depiction, which is not right. I also want to focus on something that Mike Favada did recently too, just to post about this maybe what we might call a thinker, this individual Matt Dillahunty might characterize himself as a thinker, but just kind of different ways that he deflects the importance of vegan life. And the reason I highlight this is, partly for promotion, sure, but also to really kind of make the case in a different way, in a more demonstrable way, about how the argument for veganism really needs to be taking place. Just different nuances in the discussion, layers and dimensions that don't often really get highlighted. And I think that this kind of becomes apparent again in this insistent focus on health and nutrition that vegans tend to focus on. And that brings me to the channel at hand tonight, Gojiman. Now, Gojiman is a YouTube channel, and his focus is health and nutrition. And there are many channels whose highlights for veganism are this approach. We at the Reason Vegan think that this is the one of the weaker approaches to advocating for veganism, but alas, it is a very popular and topical one. Now, his channel, again, he focuses on the health and nutrition. This channel here, Vegan Nutritionist Reacts to Medical Medium Celery Juice Claims, without really going into detail, because I'm not going to play the video in its completion, because I'm having a little bit of an audio issue. But it's also not exactly relevant to my point. He basically just makes this, argument against a certain individual, who calls himself the medical medium, who is actually not qualified as a medical practitioner at all, or really knowledgeable about the field, or has any substantive, arguments to make in terms of what he pushes, medical medium. So Gojiman kind of breaks that down and demonstrates how that is the case. My gripe with Gojiman isn't really about the substantive aspects of his arguments or the rightness. I don't comment on the rightness, the wrongness, the validity, or the truthfulness of any of his claims, because health and nutrition is a thing that is really difficult to talk about. But I really wanted to talk about Gojiman because, not actually for this video necessarily, but for this video, again, titled Vegan Nutritionist Reviews Fully Raw Christina. Now, I wanted to do this particular video, when this original video came out in April, but I have a lot of technical issues. I'm actually a 60-year-old man trapped in a 26-year-old man's body, so I don't understand this technology stuff, and I continue to have technical issues. But even still, I'm busier with well, not to say busier, I'm busy with other things in my life. I missed this opportunity. And the reason it's a missed opportunity is because Gojiman, in this video, he entitles himself a vegan nutritionist. But he actually opens the video by saying that he is not a qualified nutritionist, that he's on his way to being a qualified nutritionist. In fact, his language was that he is currently getting his master's degree in nutritional science. He is qualifying to be a nutritionist, a certified nutritionist, and he will soon be a PhD student. And it's there's a lot going on with why that's improper and unprofessional and inappropriate and wrong. Just to, I mean, it really kind of all sums up to the fact that he is not qualified, yet he purports himself to be a nutritionist. Now, this is wrong in terms of like moral ethics, but it's also wrong, deeply wrong in terms of professional ethics. Now, this is something, and unfortunately, it's not as relevant now because evidently, in this most recent video, he does say he's a qualified nutritionist. So, I'll be frank with the public. I'm actually looking into this to see if he is indeed qualified or if I can verify that because I have reason to doubt the honesty and the truthfulness of that particular claim that he's qualified. He made a video where he called himself a nutritionist. That's how he characterizes himself. Yet he was not a nutritionist at the time. And that might be like a minor detail to some, but in terms of actually entering the world of practicing, it's actually really kind of a serious thing to claim and be wrong about intentionally. This is a knowingly fallacious claim here because he does state explicitly in his video that he is not qualified. Now, that's a highly dubious thing. That's not ethical on a professional level and also on a moral level. But evidently he says he is a qualified nutritionist. I will be fact checking this, and in fact, one of the reasons I have to doubt the truthfulness and the honesty of this particular claim that he's now qualified is because after I did see this video, while I did not make a video for the public, I did reach out to him a few times, and I got one basic response, and it was just a no, and then no other responses. However, it seems after that, not to say that I had anything to do with it. I could have been one of many people because I'm sure that I wasn't the only person who was uncomfortable with this kind of claim that he makes. But perhaps after some public awareness of the fact that he is not a nutritionist yet he purported himself to be, he may have explicitly changed how he introduces himself. I don't know if he's actually qualified or certified. But another reason I have even still to doubt him is because, while he was wrongfully and knowingly purporting himself to be a nutritionist while he was not, in fact, a nutritionist, he seems to have built up a very good enterprise for himself, as a nutritionist. He has these kinds of tests that people can order. Now, I'm not, of course, if he is qualified, knowledgeable, expert, whatever we want to call it, if he's actually able to partake in the field that he is engaged in on a professional basis, I don't have any problem with any professional or expert opening up a website, selling merchandise and products and services related to their name and expertise. That's not a problem. However, it is a problem that he has been doing this even before he was qualified. Even in April, when I first saw this video about him claiming to be a nutritionist when he was not, I saw this test result analysis consult. So he was offering services to consult with people about various tests that he offers, products that he offers to people, and he was consulting with them. And I've seen other articles, YouTube videos of people who have discussed their experience having the consultation with him. That, again, is not ethical. It's not appropriate. We cannot be like this. If he's serious about advocating for veganism and not promoting his enterprise, he would not operate that way. However, he may be operating in a way that's ethically sound now because he's qualified and certified, but there is something serious to doubt, maybe, in his integrity, in how he practices his field. This is just something that we really need to be careful about as vegans because I think that I think that there's just something that's tricky about health and nutrition, where it's a subject that's really highly technical. I kind of talked about this in a recent video I made with a whopping 17 views about a healthy dose of reality about health. And I kind of laid out very broadly and loosely my case for why health and nutrition should not really be a focus for responsible advocates. I think that it's just an area that's like highly technical and really difficult to make the case for or to understand. It's something that's like esoteric. In other words, it's something that really is only well known by a few experts or a few select. For certain who have certain levels of expertise in the field, all that stuff. It's just a really difficult thing. And there are people, medical doctors, who have really contentious disagreements with each other about their beliefs and theories about what a healthy life is. And we certainly don't know how to take this body of knowledge that we have about a healthy life, excuse me, and how do we apply it to ourselves to optimize our own individual health. This is just a tricky thing. And because of the epistemics of it, I think that there's this vulnerability where people are looking for answers about these complicated nutritional and health questions, and they find their answers in people who maybe we shouldn't take so seriously, to say the least. I think this is the case with people like Gojiman. There are other individuals who follow other people, and they're all oriented towards a certain market of individuals who are looking for a certain type of health and nutrition product that does certain things, all this stuff. But he makes this great case for it. And just like many other practitioners make great cases for their diet. Dr. Oz is infamous for having a new fad every week. He was, admonished in front of Congress just a few years ago because of that, because it's a really ethically tricky thing. But because there's that entrenchment, that vulnerability, I think that it just kind of makes stuff like this um, easy to see. It makes it really easy to take place, but it also makes it something really that we should be careful about as advocates, as serious thinkers about veganism. Veganism is, I say this in many videos of mine or many articles, it's incredibly important. This is not just some like pursuit that I take personally because I like eating a plant-based diet or something. This is an incredibly important thing. This is something that has dire relevance and importance given the threats and the really harmful situations going on throughout the world related to climate change and water quality and accessibility and all these different things that really get kind of undermined when we focus on the health too much. And they get especially undermined when we do it in this way that kind of seems like enterprising rather than truth sharing. Again, this is just my hunch. That part of it. That this is kind of more about the enterprise than the truthfulness or the advocacy. That's my impression, my hunch based on what I have seen from Goji Man. I want you all to be judges for yourselves. Um, which is why I go back to our website, because a really good way to contrast that type of information and its validity and worth in terms of making the case for veganism, this is a nice contrast, the content that we offer. We really do try to bring a different voice to veganism, and whether that be about health and nutrition, which we do talk about sometimes, sustainability. I talk about politics, and that intersection with veganism, which is incredibly salient to me. So use us as a contrast to kind of see, and of course judge for yourself whether you not think I'm not trying to imply that we are the only good voice or that we are even necessarily a good voice. I think people may disagree with our perspective. I think that we do live up to our name as the Reason Vegan, though. And that's why if you're curious at all about veganism, try our support series. If you're interested in if you're not vegan and you're interested in trying it out just for 30 days, it's incredibly impactful just in that one 30-day segment that you can exercise a plant-based and cruelty-free life, or even we might argue mostly cruelty-free. However, it's a really important thing that we can do as individuals, and this is just a great way to sign up, or way to try it out, I should say. Sign up. It's just $5, and you just get these really nice nudges, words of encouragement, recipe ideas, tips from the pros, as it says. Um, and again, the point is to encourage the right way to advocate for veganism. It's incredibly important. And I think that the content that you would get from us if you signed up would, again, be that different side of veganism that often doesn't get, discussed. And, I want to just kind of also say, too, to that end, check us out on Patreon. Patronize us. We really are looking to grow the organization. We're having a few hiccups in terms of filing for the appropriate tax status that we need to be as a nonprofit organization. And part of the problem is a budgetary one. We just don't really have a lot of money. I'm using a very cheap camera that was given to me by a friend, and we're really on a shoestring budget, and we're trying to build the organization. And again, the point is to promote veganism in the right way. I think that and Mike and Evan would agree that there's a lot of the wrong arguments taking place right now that that purport to make the case for veganism. And we just want to kind of bring a breath of reality into it and reason. Um, so definitely check us out, continue following our content, and check out this video, A Healthy Dose of Reality About Health, because I think that it really kind of captures a lot of the epistemic issues. I didn't really talk a lot about the epistemics of it because it's really difficult to even articulate without going down this rabbit hole. But I think that in this video I really sum it up well. The point really is about the epistemics, that it's a really difficult thing to nail down. It's highly technical, and it's not enough for any one person to purport to know the answer. And Gojiman and others like him, they kind of do that. And we need to be careful about that if we're really serious about advocating for veganism. Alright, so just check us out, like, subscribe. We have social media, share our content. Encourage people to sign up for the support series, patronize us on Patreon, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a good night, or whatever part of the day it is for you.